All right, welcome everybody. It's Straight to It Hoops. I'm your host Keandre with my brother from another mother, Mark.
Sir.
What it do? All right, so first things first. Like always, we're gonna get straight to it. I got some honorable mentions for you all that did not make the cut. So first, we got the Cavs. I love their draft. They got some great players that they picked up. Imani Bates, which is a high school phenom. I think he's going to emerge, probably a rookie of the year candidate. And then I would like to see them also pick up some veterans just to kind of give some tutelage to some of those young guys they got over there. The next team is the Warriors. I love their draft picks as well. They got another shooter and a young bull that could dive to the basket. I like to see them pick up just one more veteran big that could kind of help teach that young guy along the way, fill some of those minutes until he's ready. Next team I got for you is the Hornets. They'll be returning two of their best players, LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges, this season. And then they just picked up Brandon Miller. Love that guy's game. Love that guy's game. I think he's going to translate well to the NBA. I just like to see them pick up a couple of veterans, maybe like a Pat Beverly, Danny Green, Grant Williams, just some guys with a lot of playoff experience, kind of help them usher in that new generation. And then the last team I got for you that didn't make the cut will be the Memphis Grizzlies. So we all know they just picked up Marcus Smart to add to that defense. So now they have two Defensive Player of the Year candidates on the squad. And then I just like to see them pick up a couple of veterans, just kind of fill some of those scoring gaps that they have. Maybe a Eric Gordon, who just became available, or a Jay Crowder. Two guys that got some playoff experience. Jay Crowder's a champion, so just kind of bring some of that pedigree in there. All right, so for today's show, what we're going to be getting into is just some free agency moves that we would like to see, just some outside of the box trades, maybe some free agency pickups. All right, so we've been hearing a lot about James Harden, Kyrie, Damian Lillard. So I'm going to go through a trade with you guys really quick. So the first trade that I want to go through is between Philadelphia, the Los Angeles Clippers, and the Dallas Mavericks.
So a three-way?
So, a three-way trade, yes, sir.
Hey,
so, so what we're going to have is, for the Sixers, we're going to have them getting Kyrie Irving, Nicholas Batum, and Marquise Morris Sr., so that way the money can match up. We'll have the Clippers getting James Harden and Reggie Bullock. And then for the Mavericks, out of the trade, they're going to be getting Tobias Harris, Robert Covington, and a first-round draft pick from the Clippers.
Oh, who goes on the Clippers again? Repeat that.
So for the Clippers, they'll be getting James Harden and Reggie Bullock from the Mavericks.
Okay.
And then Tobias Harris and Robert Covington will be going over to the Mavericks with a first-round pick from the Clippers.
And so they're going to keep PG and Kawhi.
Most definitely.
And you think that's gonna hold up?
I think that'll hold up. I think that'll be a championship caliber team right there. And the best thing about it is James Harden is on the last year's contract, so if it doesn't work out, that falls off of the books. Get them out of the luxury tax.
Yeah.
You got Sixers. I think that'll be a perfect fit with Kyrie and Nicholas Batum coming over there. They'll have that veteran presence in Nicholas Batum, who knows his role. They'll have Kyrie, a closer, which is clearly what they need over there in Philadelphia. They just can't get out of that second round. I mean, Embiid is a respectable MVP talent, but he is not a closer by any means. And we already know about James Harden.
Yeah. My only problem is I can't even imagine James Harden, PG, and Kawhi on the same team. I'm trying to figure out what type of offense they would have to even set up for it to be effective. You know what I'm saying? Because James Harden got to have the ball in his hand.
Yes, he got to have the ball in his hands, but I mean, he's more of a pass-first point guard these days. He just came off a 10-assist season, so I could see him playing like a Chris Paul type of role within that offense. I mean, Ty Lue is a genius coach, so I'm sure he'll be able to figure out how to make those pieces work. And also, on top of this trade, I would like to see Montrezl Harrell get picked up in free agency for the Clippers. So that just give them a nice pick and roll option, somebody that's going to work hard, dive to the basket, and also fill in whenever Kawhi may be hurt.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I get a little cheap point guard if all he's doing is passing, but that's a lot of money we're spending on James Harden. If he playing that PG, that point guard type of role that
I
Chris
mean,
Paul, they can
and
save a lot of money.
I've been hearing that a lot on different networks and different podcasts. But I mean, when you think about it, there was only 3 people in the league last year that had 10 assists. So it's not something that you could come across easily. Somebody who can really orchestrate the offense at a high degree. And we know what James Harden is in the pick and roll.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
know what James Harden is a pick and
yeah,
roll. So he's going to elevate a lot of those players that's on the team already, like your Zubox. If they bring back Mason Plumlee, that'll be a perfect grab for them in that pick and roll. So I mean, they'll have some options. I just think that'll be a really good fit, especially seeing how PG and Kawhi misses a good bit of games.
yeah.
James Harden, I mean, he's generally a real titan when it comes to playing through injuries. So I feel like he'll be a good fit over there with Tyloo.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's decent. That's decent. That's decent. I ain't gonna lie. I
Okay.
got a little hot take, but I ain't gonna lie, bro.
Okay, what you got for me?
So I'm I'm dealing with the Warriors right now, right? I think the Warriors should let Draymond go. And hear
Mm.
me out. I think the Warriors are just missing a true big man, and the person I think they should try and pick up next year is Kristaps Porzingis. Hear me out. The only way this actually works is if players actually get paid what their value is, And my hot take is Klay Thompson is not worth the money that they are paying him. We talking about somebody making 40, he getting 40 mil a year right now. We got who
That's a,
else? That's close to Dame numbers right now. I don't think he's Dame valuable. If you see what I'm saying right now, and I think Kristaps Porzingis, bro, Steph Curry needs somebody to take pressure off him, somebody that could get a bucket. You know what I'm saying? The only drawback is the pace because he's not a Draymond Green. He's not pushing the ball as fast as Draymond Green pushing the ball. But
that's
the
true.
fact that he requires so much attention, the fact that he can get a bucket on his own, Steph can sit down and he could do work. But I think it's worth it. Bro. I think they could get another championship in the next 2, 3 years, bro. You know what I'm saying? But I really do think Klay Thompson is overpaid. I think a lot of players are overpaid, and I think Golden State doesn't care because Klay Thompson's been in the system for so long. It's like nobody really cares. You know what I'm saying? He gels well with Steph Curry, so it's like it's not really an issue. But
I
I just
mean,
don't. I don't think he's worth 40 million. I don't think he's worth 40 million.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but we talking about a 4-time champion. We talking about
I,
40% from the 3-point line. We
I
talking
get
about
that,
20 points a game.
bro. I get that. I get that. But if you compare his contract to other players, like, now don't get me wrong, there's a lot of overpaid players right now. I think Bradley Beal is overpaid.
I would agree they're highly overpaid.
You know what I'm saying? And last time I was checking, bro, his numbers are too close to people that are just way more valuable than he is. But the fact that his tenure on the Golden State, the fact that you know what I'm saying, the chemistry there, it's just why not pay him what he wants? You know what I'm saying? Like there's just so much upside to that. But if in a slim chance that Klay Thompson would take his real value and free up some space, you know what I'm saying? I think it will work out great if you get Porzingis on the team when he becomes a free agent next year. And man, you got to get rid of Draymond. He's asking for too much money. We can do a lot with that right now. I really feel like Draymond time with the Warriors has ended. Bro. It's come to an end. Bro. That's
That's
what I
definitely a hot take.
think. It
Definitely a
is.
hot take. I mean, I've been hearing around that Klay Thompson's a little bit overpaid and Dre
Mm-hmm.
Tom, Draymond might be a bit past his prime.
Yeah,
But honestly, they found themselves in a game 7 versus the Lakers last year,
they did.
and they were missing Andrew Wiggins for the most important part of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So the chemistry wasn't there. They had some turmoil with Jordan Poole. I love the CP3 pickup personally. I
Yeah.
think that gives them great offense during the time that Curry goes to the bench. So I feel like that really fills the void that they actually needed.
Well,
I mean, I hear you. I
who he
hear
gonna
you.
pick and rolls with? Looney? You know what I'm
I'm
saying? You got Kristaps Porzingis, he going to work.
I mean, I hear you, but Porzingis is unproven in the playoffs. We got people on the team right now that are well proven in the playoffs. Curry, a four-time champion. Chris Paul goes to the playoffs with pretty much every team he plays with, making deep runs. We got Draymond coming back. I mean, he had a great defensive year last year, a great all-around year last year, and that's a four-time champion. So we're talking about ice in your veins at the time where it counts the most, and I feel like that's why Clay deserves the money that he's getting paid, because when you need him to show up, he will show up.
Man, Clay,
I feel
man.
like he's catching a lot of flack coming off of these two injuries. He's only played what 1.5 seasons. Both seasons he averaged 20 points a game. So I mean, it's not like he's not giving you high quality. I
He
can see
is.
where he's not old Clay
Right.
yet, but I see it in there though. I see it in there. I see the
He
forty
takes all
percent.
that.
I see the volume shooting. He got the stamina. He doesn't look like he's breaking down during games. So I mean,
Because you got to
and
remember in the playoffs, the Warriors started doing good. You know, they started winning when Draymond actually started being more effective on offense. Like when he was actually more aggressive, he started, instead of handing off, taking it to the goal. He was just being more aggressive on the offensive end. And that's when the Warriors offense was really, you know what I'm saying? That's when their game really stepped up. And so if you have somebody like Porzingis that is already elite, hold on, let me, I throw out that word too much. Let me just say
yeah, let's take a little step back right here.
he's already an
All
effective.
star caliber. All
You,
star
you know what I'm
caliber.
saying? Exactly. So he takes so much pressure off of Steph. Steph already Steph. You know what I'm saying? Steph is the reason they got there, period. You know what I'm saying? But to take that pressure off of him, you got somebody that can score. Somebody, the defense won't be lacking. As you know what I'm saying? You get rid of Draymond, but you got a paint blocker in Porzingis. You know what I'm saying? You can't just take it up on him. So we still got defense. Yo, Clay Thompson's getting paid the same amount as Luka Doncic. I don't believe they are both. He's getting paid more than Luka right now. He is
Well,
not.
I think that's just because Luca's still on his rookie extension, so
Hey,
that's semantics right there.
he too
I
he
mean,
too close to Damian. He way
I
too close to Damian.
I hear what you're saying, and I'm not against it. Honestly,
Yeah,
it's a solid take, truly,
yeah,
because they are getting up there in age. I just think that they should run it back with this team that they got. And honestly, I like what you said about Draymond. Once he started being a little bit more offensive, they were being more successful in the playoffs this past year.
yeah.
I think that's more of a reflection of the lack of offense coming off of the bench. And he needed to bring that offense because they weren't getting that same offensive scoring power from the bench that they were getting in years past. So that's why I think the Chris Paul solves that problem and gets rid of a lot of those dumb turnovers that they were having last year. I mean, they were up there in turnovers. It was ridiculous.
Yeah,
So I mean, I get where you're coming from because I do like Porzingis as a player. So I see where you're coming from,
yeah.
and
Jordan
that
Poole,
brings some much needed size.
Jordan Poole was a magician this year, but it disappeared. So I
Oh
get that.
man,
I get that. I get that. I get that. But yeah, that's my pick. I mean, my
no,
first
I
take.
like that one. I like that one. So my second trade that I got for you, I mean, I'm mainly sticking with the teams that I feel like are going to be in title contention. So
Yeah.
I have the Phoenix Suns and the Atlanta Hawks in a trade. I
Okay.
really like the Atlanta Hawks last year with the coaching change. They made a strong push at the end of the season, getting to the playoffs, and I mean, it looked like for a second there that they were pushing the Celtics.
Hmm.
So the trade that I got for you all, I got the Hawks getting DeAndre Ayton and Cameron Payne, who's on an expiring contract.
Okay.
Also with a first round pick and possibly a second round pick thrown in there, just to excite those Phoenix Suns a little bit.
Yeah.
Then we got the Phoenix Suns getting Clint Capella and Bogdan Bogdanovich, who's also an expiring deal. So that
Hmm.
gives them some scoring power on the bench. They get a big who's going to dive and roll for them, get a lot of rebounds. Not going to ask for the ball a lot. I mean, they
Yeah.
have enough scoring power between Bill, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant. And then from there, they can just fill up the roster with veteran minimums. They don't need much, honestly.
Yeah. I
I
feel
think
like
that'll be solid right there. And then some free agents pickups that they have out there for veteran minimum. They got Tristan Thompson that they can get to back up Clint Capella on a low deal. They can get Javon Carter from the Milwaukee Bucks, solid veteran point guard. George Hill from the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, both of them are champions, so they know what it takes to get there.
Yeah,
Dante DiVincenzo. I think they can take a shot at Dante DiVincenzo. That's also a champion. Just came from playing with the Warriors, another championship squad. So
yeah,
he has a lot of veteran pedigree to him. And I mean, he wins everywhere he goes. He won in college at Villanova, and we know what those Villanova guys do. You got Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart making a huge difference in playoff games.
yeah. So true. I
So
think
that's what I.
Hawks definitely won that trade.
What you say?
I think Hawks definitely won that trade though.
I think the Hawks will win that trade too, because I mean they're going to be getting some much needed extra scoring, especially down low in the post.
Yeah,
They have those two dynamic guards, so they have enough spacing out there. I like DeAndre Hunter as a Swiss Army knife. I mean, he has an all-around game, plays solid defense.
yeah.
If they could pick up maybe a Grant Williams in free agency, I feel like that'll really complete that squad.
For the Hawks.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
like that'll really complete that squad, and I do believe they have a good bit of cap space and maybe a mid-level exception, so they can definitely afford Grant Williams, and that'll be a pretty complete squad. Truly, you got Trey Young, Dejounte Murray, DeAndre Hunter, Grant Williams, and Ayton in the starting lineup.
yeah.
Campaign coming off the bench, veteran point guard, some extra pieces.
That's
I
decent.
like it.
That's an upgrade right there. I ain't gonna lie.
I like it. I like it.
A hell of a downgrade for the Suns though.
I mean, I don't see it that way, honestly. I mean, they get Clint Capella on a very team-friendly deal. He doesn't cost much.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's true.
they're getting some much-needed scoring off the bench for those minutes that those guys do have to sit, and especially, I mean, injuries do happen. So having another, I don't know, 15 to 20 point scorer on your squad, I think that would be very helpful. Especially they don't have any cap room at
Yeah,
all, so they can only sign veteran minimum. So I think that trade is gonna solve two key problems for them, getting them
yeah,
some
right.
size and some extra scoring.
Yeah,
And then,
'cause
I
they
mean,
got
it's a lot of people will want to play with them, so I'm sure they'll get some solid vets.
right. They do because I'm just forgetting. They got Beal, they got Booker, they got KD. The bill looking kind of crazy right now. So
The bill is definitely high, so having those expiring contracts won't hurt either.
exactly, exactly. Okay. So, GM boy.
Putting it out there in the fear.
All right, I got another one. So the Lakers. If the Lakers want to
Mm.
contend for a championship, I thought about this for a little minute. Because the thing is, Austin Reeves is a free agent. Russell
Now you
right
had it
now
right, D'Angelo Russell.
is a free agent. So it's like they don't have much to give. You know what I'm saying? As far as trading, they don't got enough pieces to really trade right now. And I don't know if they plan on signing Reeves or. Here's what I'm saying. I don't think they should. What I think they should do.
Oh, hot take, hot take.
Hold on. What I think because you got to understand in the playoffs, LeBron is not the LeBron we know and love. You know what I'm saying? He needs more help right now. And the reason he has won most of those games in the playoffs was one, Russell took off that one game versus man, I cannot remember right now. Russell took
I
off
can't remember either.
Lonnie Walker. Those two guys stepped up big time and actually gave them a chance to move forward in the playoffs. So we need somebody that's going to help out LeBron. I still think AD is somebody they should keep. I don't think they should even think of getting rid of him. I know you might disagree. So
Man, I think he's a little bit overrated, but I understand why
look,
they would want to keep him.
man, he's a solid player, offensively, defensively. As long as he can stay healthy, I think they should hold on to him. You got LeBron, hold on to him. Now, the person I think they should pick up is my boy Kyrie. Is my boy Kyrie. Somebody that is going to get you a bucket. Somebody that's going to alleviate all that pressure off of LeBron. You know what I'm saying? Somebody you could sit LeBron down and have Kyrie and AD in the pick and roll. You know what I'm saying? And just run an offense through them. And then from there, pick up vets. DiVincenzo, perfect. They need some shooters. You know what I'm saying? Pick up some true role players and just have pick up Kyrie, and I think they have a chance at getting a championship in the next 2 years, bro. Because
Hmm.
who else? They don't have anything valuable to trade, and I don't think they should get rid of AD at all. You know what I'm saying? I think they should keep AD, keep LeBron, bring back somebody that already has chemistry with LeBron. The chemistry is already there. We know what Kyrie can do. He's not going to give you much on defense, but we can make up with that with the role players that they can probably pick up. You know what I'm saying? So I think
Now,
Kyrie they got a championship.
I was dead set against it until you did say they do got that chemistry already, so they know how they're gonna mesh well together.
Yep.
Uh, see, I mean, personally, me,
Yeah.
I would trade Anthony Davis, but I know that's not in the cards for them. It's not gonna be a market that's gonna give them a return that they need. Let's just say that there will be a market for him, but they won't get the proper return for him.
Yeah.
So I have a Lakers free agency maneuvering, if you will.
All right.
So the Kyrie, I think is gonna the Kyrie pickup, I think is gonna lock them in to a situation that they may not want to find themselves in. I mean, if it doesn't work out, they won't be able to make any moves next year. They'll be stuck with it. And then also, I mean, they won't have much wiggle room to pick up players for this season. I mean, right now, as it stands, they have 4 people on the roster. So bringing on Kyrie, I mean, they're gonna be looking at a team full of minimums, like a team
Hey,
full
that's
of minimums.
just some role players, bro.
I hear you, but I mean that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough. So for me, I like their draft. I mean, I think that was a great pick in Jalen Hood out of Indiana, and you getting a very intelligent point guard with some nice size on him to orchestrate that pick and roll coming off the bench, and then I think before the end of the season he'll find his way into the starting lineup. Um, I would like to see them pick up some vets and some young legs as well. So I was looking more towards Brook Lopez.
Hmm.
I mean, because we seen them versus the Nuggets and the squad that they had, it I don't think it could put up a fight, even with another year of chemistry together. So I agree with you. They do need to make some changes. I just think they need to get a little bit bigger though. So I
Gotcha.
would say Brook Lopez. That's also going to give you some spacing on the floor. I mean, he was a defensive player of the year candidate. So also, I would like to see them pick up Kenyon Martin Jr. He's
Hmm.
an LA kid, very athletic. I mean, he's an NBA player's kid, so you know he has that intelligence there. Pairing him with LeBron, I think they can figure out how to use him perfectly within the pick and roll, high flyer. He has a nice shot on him. It's been falling this past season, averaging 12 points a game. So him coming off the bench, I think that'll be a perfect fit. Also, I was looking at Reggie Jackson,
Hmm.
uh, formerly of the Clippers. I mean, he's a champion now, coming off of that Denver run. No, he didn't get a lot of minutes there, but we know what he can do. We seen him in the playoffs last season, lighting it up for the Clippers without much help at all. So I think he'll do very good coming off of that bench, maybe even in the starting lineup. I would like to see them re-sign Rui Hachimura and Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves had a breakout season, and I think his game will continue to ascend. I mean, I love his splits. He's 50, 40, 85.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't ask for too much more. Averaging 20 points in the playoffs, a couple of series. So he makes buckets when it matters. He draws fouls. So I think even if it's 20 million a year, I think it'll be well worth it in the coming years. His game's going to keep developing, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'd like to see them also re-sign Dennis Schroeder. Played
Hmm.
very well for him. Very cheap. Very, very, very cheap. Right now, I think they paid 2 million for him last year. It might be up to like 5 million this year. Not much. So I think they definitely should bring him back. Like you said, a little bit of chemistry.
For sure.
And then lastly, hot take, Dwight Howard. I would like to see them reinstate and re-sign Dwight Howard.
Oh man.
It won't cost them nothing but like $2 million. You're gonna have another body to throw at Jokic. Last we seen Dwight Howard in the NBA, he was playing some great defense on Jokic.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, and you don't need a lot from him. So if it doesn't work out, you can always cut him.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking at. I think that draft pick is going to do well. Brook Lopez and Kenyon Martin. I'll be super excited to see them in a Lakers uniform. What'd you think about it, man?
My only thing is who's helping LeBron. I don't know
Well,
who's helping LeBron. I feel like Austin Reeves could get a bag somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? I'm not
I
saying
think he could. I think he could, but I think Austin Reeves. I think coming back this year, he'll be anywhere from 15, 20 points a game. That's some solid help. I think Brook Lopez is coming in with another 15 points a game, giving you maybe 8 to 10 rebounds. That's going to be some good help right there. Taking a lot of pressure off of Anthony Davis and his defensive workload, which
hmm
I feel will in turn allow Anthony Davis to give LeBron that help that you're talking about. I mean,
yeah.
that's some good scoring in the starting lineup, coming off of the bench. I mean, they're gonna have to figure some things out. I like Rui Hachimura as a six man. I think he could average about 15 to 20 this year coming off the bench. He was very efficient in the playoffs. I don't know if that'll continue, but I do think he's an aggressive enough player to be a six man of the year candidate coming off of their bench. So as far as scoring, I think with this roster they'll have enough scoring. It's not the big names that everybody's looking for, but I think it fits their roster very well. I mean, you got a lot of intelligent players, a lot of veteran players, a nice mix of a couple of young guys in there to run that floor for them, get those easy transition buckets.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel really good about it. I know that it's not the Laker way. They do like to make those big splashes, but I feel really good about it.
It's a decent roster. I'm not gonna lie. It's a very conservative roster. I guess
Respect.
for me, I just feel like they need a bucket getter. But we seen what Russell did in the playoffs. We saw what Lonnie Walker did. That was the best piece of money they ever spent. You know what I'm saying? They saw what
Man,
Lonnie Walker
I
did. They need somebody that's going to be able to pick the team up when they need them. I don't think Austin Reeves can do that. I don't think. Well, we already know Dennis Schroeder is not going to do that, but that's a solid point guard right there. They need to make some sacrifices and pick up somebody like Kyrie.
I
I
hear you,
wish I
brother.
wish they could pick up Dame, but that they don't got nothing to offer. But
Man, I hear you, but I just got a little bit more faith in Austin Reeves' game and what I've seen to this
okay,
point, and that's part of why I don't think they need to make that big swing and going out to get Kyrie and potentially crippling their future. Uh,
but you ain't got it. It don't got to be a long contract. It don't.
not so much about the contract, just about that luxury tax, man.
But that's what I'm saying.
That 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 luxury tax is something serious. Getting a 3 year contract for Kyrie and being stuck in that, and it potentially not working out. I mean, we're looking at a good 10 years of Lakers not in the playoffs after that if that don't work out. So that's the main reason why I stayed away from it. I was thinking about it as well. Another trade that I was looking at,
Yeah.
uh, man,
What you
hot
gotta
hot
say, bro?
take, hot
What you
take.
gotta say, bro?
Hot take, hot take. So I know, man, you're a Miami Heat fan. So
Don't, hey, bro.
I want your
I
honest
hear,
opinion on this. I want your honest opinion on this.
I hear you're getting it. If you taking away who I think you about to take away, I'm gonna be hot, bro. Go
No,
ahead.
no, no. I think I'm gonna make some moves some
Oh,
that you may like, some that you may not like.
all right.
All right, so I would like the Heat to do a trade with the Houston Rockets. Right,
Okay.
unconventional, unconventional. So out of this trade, the Heat will be getting Kevin Porter Jr. and Kenyon Martin Jr. So two more fresh young legs, some athleticism. Kevin Porter Jr. is a very aggressive scorer. So I mean, he gets you a good 15 to 20, whether he's on the starting lineup or the bench. Kenyon Martin Jr. great in the pick and roll, uh, great knowing his role. Again, NBA vets kid, so he's coming with that intelligence and just that professionalism that the Miami Heat love. I love their draft. They picked up Jamie Jimenez. How you say his name? Jamie. I don't want to say his name. Jamie Jr. Let's just say Jamie Jr. They picked
All
up
right.
Jamie Jr. from UCLA. I love this game at UCLA. I think he was there for 4 years, so very mature guy. You can see clips of him playing at UCLA in the summers, guarding NBA talent. So he knows what it feels like to be going up against those NBA bodies. I think his game will translate well to the next level. And then in the free agency, I would like them to first off re-sign Gabe Vincent.
For
I
sure,
do not think they should let go of Gabe Vincent.
for sure.
I like Tyler Hero coming back. I think with Kevin Porter Jr. coming in, you can reinsert Tyler Hero into that starting lineup and allow Kevin Porter to play that 6-man role. With all that shooting in the starting lineup, I think it will elevate the games of Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler. And then if they could pick up maybe like a Mason Plumlee or a Montrezl Harrell in free agency, just to get some extra size and some
Co-
character in there. We're talking about some
Cody Zeller
character
not
that fit in.
Cody Zeller not doing it. Go ahead.
Not at all. But we're talking about some toughness and character that fit in. You got Mason Plumlee. He's going to dive to the basket aggressively. He's very unselfish. I like Mason Plumlee as a big, very underrated. Montrezl Harrell, he did sit out this past year, didn't get much playing time, but we know what he can do off the bench, 6-man role, scoring 20 points a game. So I do think he has that in him. Still kind of young,
Okay.
very aggressive. Again, fits that Miami Heat culture. Now for the Rockets, out of this trade, again, the Heat is getting Kevin Porter Jr. and Kenyon Martin Jr. So we have to match that money.
Well, who we
I like
lose?
the Rockets to get Kyle Lowry
Okay.
and 2 second-round draft picks. So
Okay.
they're not sending over much, but I think it's something that will benefit both teams greatly. The Heat will get some extra scoring, some more athleticism, and then the Rockets, they'll be getting an expiring veteran contract. A guy who's a champion could come in, mentor some of those young guys, show them how to be true professionals. I love their draft. They picked up Ahmed Thompson out of Florida. Florida boy, you know how you do. The guy wins everywhere. He's won at the high school level. I see him winning overtime elite. Very dynamic playmaking point guard. They also have Cam Whitmore. Now I know there was some speculation on his health,
Yeah.
but he was a great college basketball player. So once he does get into that lineup, I think he'll do some big things. And then they have a lot of cap space over there in Houston. So I don't think they really need to elevate their team much through trade. They can just pick up some free agents. They can throw obscene amounts of money at them. So I would like to see them go after Cam Johnson,
Cam
get some
Johnson.
more, get some more size and some more shooting into the starting lineup. I do like Jalen Green's game a lot. I think he'll mesh well with Amen Thompson, who's a pass first point guard. Get some more spacing on the floor with some size and Cam Johnson. I think that'll open up everyone's game. I would like to see them pick up Kevin Love and Derrick Rose in free agency as well. Again,
You should keep Kevin Love.
no, I don't think that he should keep Kevin Love.
That's great. That's good.
Again, you're getting some veteran presence. Kevin Love is noticeably far past his prime.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
He can give you a double double, 10 rebounds, 10 points, but I don't think he's scoring much more than that. He's a little slow, so I think he can come off their bench, give them some solid minutes, but mainly for that presence, that veteran presence, championship pedigree, just teaching them again how to be a professional. And then Derrick Rose, for a lot of the same reasons, I think he'll be well respected in any locker room. Young guys know what he's accomplished, know what he's been through. He's about the culture. So, having a presence like him and Kyle Lowry in there, between the two of them, I think they can get those young guards together. And if these moves were made, I'd make an argument for the Rockets to be in the playoffs.
Really,
Truly.
I think the Rockets gonna want more. I think they're gonna want more for them young guys. I'm telling you, but we giving away their young core. Like there's a bright future. And what do you call it? Man,
Kevin Porter Jr.
I always mix his name up with Kelly Oubre for some reason. Who is also a free agent right now.
Definitely. I looked at him as well, but he's so streaky, and his personality, I feel like, won't mesh with a lot of teams, especially teams with some veteran presence. I don't think it'll mesh too well. For me, Kevin Porter Jr., again, he's a very confident player. He can put the ball in the basket, but he is not efficient at all. And I I think that Rockets team. I mean, they've tried it for what 3 years now, so they know what they're getting out of him. They tried
Hmm.
him at the point guard position, not a pass first point guard. Give you 6 assists a game, but it's not winning basketball. So I feel like bringing in a guy like Ahmed Thompson to replace him
Hmm.
won't be hard for him to fill that role. 6 assists a game, I think he can do that. The scoring, we'll have to see what he can do at the NBA level, but I mean, I think he can do 40% from the field.
So what do you think? What, true, but what do you think we're missing as far as the Heat? What do you think? What do
The
you think
Heat,
we're missing? Yeah,
honestly,
because
hot take, I think the Heat were missing Tyler Hero.
you think so.
I really think the Heat were missing Tyler Hero.
I don't know. I think a
Um,
lot of guys stepped up and now go ahead, go ahead.
guys did step up, but I mean, if you take Max Struess out of there and replace his minutes with Tyler Hero, I
Hmm.
mean, the scoring naturally goes up at least 10 points per game, at least.
Yeah.
So those extra 10 points, I feel like could have won us a lot of games.
Hmm.
And in that same breath, again, the spacing on the floor, he affects that greatly. So Tyler Hero coming back, the draft pick, a couple of bigs. I think that's truly all they need. The trade is just some extra icing on the top for me. It gets Kyle Lowry off of their books, which is $30 million. Of you want to talk about overpaid?
Yeah, yeah. You wanted them.
So
You
you
know.
get that $30 million off the book. I think the Rockets will appreciate having that veteran presence and then being able to get him off the books in the following season. Kenyon Martin Jr. has a lot of potential. He's still very, very young, super athletic. I mean, he's displaying a well-rounded game over there in Houston.
Yeah.
Granted, he has a bit of an open role out there, so I would like to see him in a structured offense with some veterans, some great coaching. I think sky's truly the limit for him. I could see him being a fringe all-star type of player.
Okay.
Reminds me a lot of hot take.
All right,
Hot take.
man. But yo, I
His
say something
game reminds
different.
me a lot of hot takes today. His game reminds me a lot of a young Blake Griffin. How he
Bro,
attacks
don't
that
do that,
basket.
man. Bro, don't
Yeah,
do that,
man.
man. Don't do that, bro. Don't do
Yeah,
that.
man. I know a lot of people not watching him down in Houston, but this guy he elevates, he crashes to the boards, very hard on the offensive glass, put back dunks, pick and roll lobs. I mean, he has it all, and that's without great point guard work over there in Houston. So having some better point guards out here in Miami, better playmakers. Jimmy Butler's also a playmaker. I think he'll do very, very well within their offense.
Look, man, he's like 60 shades away from Blake. All right. About
Hey, I
60
said hot take. I mean, he
shades.
has the vertical to compare. Definitely has the vertical to compare.
No, for sure. He athletic. He definitely got an athleticism. But I don't know. Blake, my dog, man. I just can't have the disrespect.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. We didn't talk about it before.
Yeah.
All right, so I have something here that I think. Bear with me. Bear with me. I know everybody else is on the other side of the spectrum when it comes to this,
Yeah.
but Damian Lillard in Portland.
What about
I think he should stay, man.
it? What's gonna change, man?
I think he should stay. So what I have here for him, I mean, I love their draft. They got Scoot Henderson.
Yeah.
They got Chris. Is it Chris Murray?
I'm not sure.
He's a twin of the brother of the Sacramento Kings who
Oh, okay.
led the league and made 3 pointers as a rookie last year. He's coming in again, another guy who spent some time in college, so he's a ready body, ready to go. And if he's anything like his brother from last year, he'll be contributing at a high level. Uh, I would like to see them make a lot of moves in free agency instead of going ahead and trading away Damian Lillard, who spent his entire career in your organization. So for me,
How much more time are we gonna give them? How much more time? I
it's not
feel like
about giving them time. It's about facing reality. I mean, we're talking about Portland at the end of the day. They're not
right.
going to get a superstar. They're just not going to get one. I mean, they can sit around and wait to get a number one pick in the draft, but I mean,
Oh, you mean
in
as
the
far as
team,
people wanting to go to Portland?
yeah, they're just not going to
Oh,
get one. It's just not
oh,
happening. So if we're being honest with ourselves, you need to work with what you have. When you're a franchise like Portland, like OKC, you're not going to get those free agency splash pickups.
My thing
So
is, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
so what I'm looking at personally, Chris Middleton, very efficient scorer, 50, 40, 90 fringe type of guy, giving you 20 points a game. I think that'll alleviate a lot of pressure off of Damian Lillard as far as scoring, and he'll be able to do a lot more playmaking, especially having Scoot next to him and them sharing that backcourt. I think that'll be a good pickup for the both of them, being able to have somebody who would take a lot of pressure off of them, taking a lot of last minute shots for Giannis, and it's working out well for him. So I think it'll do well for Scoot as well. Um, I like to see them get a little bit of size, a backup for Norkic, Mason Plumlee. You're gonna hear his name floating around a lot. I love Mason Plumlee's game. I think he could fit on a lot of rosters. I'm sure a lot of teams will be looking to pick him up.
Okay.
And then out of the New Orleans Pelicans, Herbert Jones. They
Okay.
recently went ahead and waived the last year of his contract for him to become a free agent. I
Yeah.
know they're looking to re-sign him, but I mean honestly, the Pelicans are going nowhere fast. He hasn't made a ton of money to this point in his career, so if Portland offer him solid contract, you're getting a great defender whose offensive game has been coming along this past year. All percentages have risen, points per game risen. He had a couple of 20-point breakouts, almost a 30-point game. So I can see him continuing to elevate and move in that direction. And maybe if they can't get Herb Jones, maybe a Jared Vanderbilt if the Lakers decide to waive him and get off of that contract.
Yeah.
Just some extra size and some defensive versatility to go along with Chris Middleton, Scoop, and Dame. I don't think that they should re-sign Jeremy Grant.
Nah,
Uh,
they
I
just
don't think there's no need for that. All he's giving you is scoring. He's all right defensively, but he's giving you some inefficient scoring. So being able to replace him with a guy like Chris Middleton and just getting some size in there for defense and Herb Jones, I feel like that'll put them in position to make a run. I'm not saying that they're going to be, you know, champion leading team,
that,
but
that's
I
what I
mean
want to hear. Though.
we've
That's what I want
seen
to hear.
but also we've seen Damian Lillard perform at an extremely high level.
Right.
And honestly, I don't see a team that's leaps and bounds ahead of them if they do make these type of moves. Just getting another all-star caliber player in the building,
Yeah.
along with the backcourt of Damian Lillard and Scoop Henderson. Mind you, we'll still have Anthony Simons coming off the bench, giving you 15 to 20 points a game,
Mm-hmm.
efficient three-point shooting. So the team will have a lot of offensive power, a lot of shooting power. Yet to be seen what that defensive mesh would look like, but they do have Chauncey Billups as their head coach, defensive-minded guy, coming
Yeah.
out of those Detroit Pistons. You know what they was 70 points a game defensively. So I do believe he'll figure it out.
Yeah. It's a little. It's too much new parts. Too much new moving parts for me, man. I think if Dame wants to go somewhere, they have no choice but to take a loss. I think Dame is one of the few players that has earned the right to go where he wants and they not receive their due, you know what I'm saying, value for Dame because of his tenure and what he's done for the organization. So I don't, yeah, they can't get a star, but I think Dame can still go where he wants. Does he want to? That's the question. I think he should jump ship. I think he's given it. I think he's done his due diligence in Portland. I don't think they've done their due diligence. You
I
know what I'm saying?
mean,
So
I agree with you on that take that he's earned it to be
yeah,
able to go wherever he wants, but at the same time, I don't see a team that he can go to and there'll be clear cut championship favorites. So I
I think
mean,
what's up.
I'm
Hey,
kind of with him with the idea of staying put, making my money, running my own organization, build around me, and see where I could take you. I'm kind of with him on that because I mean it's not like he hasn't had success. He's taking you on deep playoff runs. He's been consistently in the playoffs. I mean he has like 8 seasons out of his 10, 11 seasons in the league in the playoffs. So I mean it's not like he's not making runs. I think getting some championship pedigree again in Chris Middleton Another All Star player to go along with him. This past season, they tried to work it out with Jeremy Grant, but I don't think he's an All Star. I don't think he's a fringe All Star. I think he's just a solid NBA player who can get you some points. I don't think he plays winning basketball either. So to be able to replace that with some super efficient scoring from Chris Middleton and then a couple of defensive bodies to get in there, I think, man, Dame just came off a 30-point season. I, I think he
I
can
don't
get some
know.
things done.
I don't know what you and Dame got against rings, bro, but he ain't getting one if he stay at Portland. So. He's not getting one. Bro. I just feel like, I mean,
Oh man,
it's too much too much new moving parts, man. Scoot is a great player. You mentioned Chris Murray. I just he needs to go somewhere where he can be set up to win a championship. I understand. I'm kind of like Dame. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I think players make too much of a big deal out of a ring. At the end of the day, you're playing, you're doing something you love at the highest level, and you're making money for it. Trust me, I completely understand. But at some point, that competitive, that competitiveness in me.
that competitive spirit got to come out. Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I actually want to win something. You know what I'm saying? I actually want to actually go for a ring. Trust me, I get Dame. Yo, if I was in Miami, my family's here. I love it here. I'll stay. You know what I'm saying? I'll take the pay cut. Y'all just bring some pieces. But bro, he's been there for how long?
I mean,
He's
it's been 10,
trying
11
to dirt
seasons.
numbers. I don't think it's gonna be another Dirk situation. You know what I'm saying? I think he needs to hop out. Man. I really do. I really
I mean, I hear you. I hear you. But at the same token, I feel like the West, outside of the Nuggets, is pretty wide open.
do.
And I can't stress it enough. Damian Lillard just came off a 32-point average season.
That's why I know what he could
Like,
do.
and being an alpha like
Yeah,
he is, I just can't see him going to a situation that's just not guaranteed. Because much like how I think James Harden's thinking to himself, I mean, for all this trouble, I could have stayed in Houston and kept trying. I got a lot closer in Houston than I got with the Nets, than I got with the Sixers, and I feel like Damian Lillard could be looking at that. You
yeah.
know,
And he's
yeah,
made those same sentiments. He's definitely made those same sentiments.
yeah.
So
It's not like I haven't been in contention. You know, I've been in the conference finals.
back to back.
That's pretty much as close as you can go.
Right.
So uh, for me, Dame getting not another, Dame finally getting a talented wing next to
Mhm.
him. I feel like a lot of these NBA stars who haven't had the championship success is because they haven't had the right complementary talent with them. Not that they haven't had talent with them, but it hasn't been complementary. Damian Lillard with a wing scorer on his team, whether it be, let's say, a Paul George,
Yeah,
Chris Middleton, I feel like that fits a lot better than having another backcourt guard and maybe a CJ McCullough.
yeah.
I feel like
I'll,
that's why that didn't work out then. Having Chris Middleton there, I feel like it'll be a different dynamic. It'll show something different.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. If because I'm all for people. I really don't like the chasing the ring. I think somebody like KD is too obsessed with people's opinions um and just
Man,
not enjoying the fact. I think people lose sight of the fact that they play basketball for a living. You know what I'm saying? I think they get too caught up in narratives, and so I do. Trust me, in a lot of ways, I agree with Dame, and so I do believe if he does stay and he does get a ring, that ring is going to be more valuable than most other rings in this league. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like Dirk at Dallas. That one ring is more valuable than a lot of other rings
man,
because of the journey. You know what I'm saying? And
I
so
agree.
in
I
the
agree.
end, I think he'd be a lot happier getting a ring in Portland and it taking till he retires than for him to switch up and get a three-peat with LeBron and AD. You know what I'm saying? Or any other team that can actually afford it. You know what I'm saying? And so in a way, I do get that. At the same time, I love basketball, and I would love to see Dame competitively going for a ring. You know what I'm saying? On the other
I
hand,
mean,
enjoy your life. You know what I'm saying? I want him to be actually happy with his choices. So, you know what I'm saying?
And I, I mean, I hear you, and I mean, we're about to find out in a few hours. It can go either way. So we're gonna see what he ends up doing and which way he ends up playing it.
Yeah.
Either way, Dame's a great to me. I think he'll finish his career. Hot take, a top 5 point guard. If he gets that ring, if he gets that ring,
For sure.
to me, he'll be top 3 for sure,
Oh,
without any
bro,
arguments.
I thought you was gonna say he'd be top 5 with the ring.
Nah, with the ring, he'll be top 3. Because, I mean, I feel like what Dame's accomplished out there in Portland has been very underrated. His shooting ability is very underrated.
He is
I
one
think
of the best shooters of all time.
I think when he ends his career on that made threes list, he'll be number 3. And I personally would consider him a top 3 shooter of all time. I mean, I love my legends, Ray Allen, Reggie Miller, but
He's
they
top
just
5 for sure.
they just played a different game, man. Right now, they're shooting off the dribble, more contested threes. Their percentages are a lot higher. So I have to give some due respect to what I'm watching, man. I have to give some due respect to it. So him and Clay, I think once their careers end, they'll be 2 and 3 behind Steph.
You talking about 3 point or just shooting ability or 3 point shoot?
Shooting ability.
I can't.
You know what? You're right. I'll give them 3 points because Kevin Durant does exist.
Exactly. That's,
And
so that's what I was thinking about
we're
the
not
whole
gonna
time. Like,
we're not
hold
gonna
up.
get too crazy. We're not gonna get too crazy. Kevin Durant does exist, so we're talking about
Yes.
all around shooting ability.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant's definitely in that top 3. I don't care who you got in your top 3. Kevin Durant's in your top 3.
He's definitely there. Exactly. So,
But if we talking about threes, I like Damian Lillard over. I mean, you could give me your laundry list. I'm taking Dame. If it's not Clay, if it's not Steph, I'm taking Dame, man. I watch those contested threes from any range. They all going in.
trust me, I'm with you, but I gotta sit down and think about that one because I don't think he's top 3 in both those lists. Well, definitely not shooting ability. He's not top 3. Sure. 3 point, man. You talking about? Whew, man, we don't want to get into that, bro. It's gonna be a long
Yeah,
conversation.
we'll say that for another day. Potential video coming in the future. Top 3 point shooters, top all around shooters. Last thing I got for you on the trade, I got a bonus here.
Uh-huh.
I want to title this "The Return of Detroit Basketball." Man, I'm excited about what Detroit got going on up there. They've been drafting very, very well the past few years. Cade Cunningham,
Yep.
Jaden Ivey,
Yep.
Jalen Duren. I mean, those young guys, they're coming in. They're super competitive. They're fiery. They got some great abilities to them. Jaden Ivey is a great shooter. Cade Cunningham is a solid leader. I know he's coming off of that injury, so we have to see what he looks like. Jalen Duren, very aggressive. Very aggressive.
Okay, so we're not talking about I thought for a second I thought you meant return like this season return. Like,
I mean, with the pickups, I'm gonna go through it. I think they'll make the playoffs this year.
you think so?
I think they'll make if not the playoffs, they'll at least be in the play-in. So through the draft, another great draft. They got the other Thompson twin, Asur Thompson.
Yeah.
He's a great scorer, ice in his veins. He's been playing the role of the scorer, the shooter between the two brothers since they've started playing basketball. Again, these boys have championship pedigree. They've won at every level they've been on, and it's been point guard, shooting guard the whole time. So I think he'll come in being very aggressive. I think he'll get his feet under him very early on in the season. I could see him in that conversation for Rookie of the Year, along with Brandon Miller and Wembanyama, because again, he's going to have every opportunity. They also picked up Marcus Sasser. He's a guy played for Houston, straight out of Dallas. So tough guy. A great scorer, 4-level scorer, very dynamic, NBA body, very solid guy. So I could see him coming in and being effective, whether it be off the bench. It'll probably be a 2-way contract, getting some time in the G League just to get some extra minutes. but I could see him coming into his own very early as well. They'll be bringing back Cade Cunningham coming off an injury. They got Jaden Ivey again, like I said. Big pickup for me, very underrated last year at the trade deadline. James Wiseman. I know he hasn't been able to really show
Play.
his full game since he's been in the league, but that rookie season, he came in very hot, super
Yeah.
efficient for the Golden State Warriors. I know they weren't playing for anything at the time, but he showed some flashes there. He's a
Okay.
very athletic big. I mean, he's been dominating these group of guys since he's been a young guy. I mean, he's always been one of those top ranked kids.
Hmm.
So I see the NBA starting to transition into the next generation, and that generation, they know what James Wiseman is about.
Yeah.
So I think he'll start to come into his own here soon
Hmm.
as he continues to develop his game. They got great coaching over there in Monty Williams, and if they can bring in a couple of veterans to play a role and also to give them some mentorship, I could see them making a playoff run. Man, they play hard. Um,
Next
I
year.
could this year coming up. I mean, if they can get like a Jeff Green championship experience, been around the league.
Hmm.
Definitely knows what he's doing as far as the mentor role. He can give him some solid minutes off the bench. Karis LeVert come in, play maybe like a 6 man role. Again, another vet with a lot of respect around the league.
Yeah.
Uh, Another name that's floated around a couple of times, Grant Williams.
Hmm.
Come in, give them some toughness. He fits that timeline of youth that they have going on over there.
Is he really?
So I mean, he looked pretty tough when he was pulling up against Jimmy Butler. I know he didn't win the battle, but he stood in there, and he played a large role in that finals run that
Nah,
they
he's a
had
solid player.
2 years ago. So I mean,
Yeah.
he's gonna give you a little bit of shooting. He's a bit streaky, but
Yeah.
definitely some toughness in that locker room. And that'll be my bonus pick. I do think it'll be the return of Detroit basketball this coming season. Y'all look out for that.
That's something to see.
That's gonna be my favorite team to watch on NBA TV for sure.
Okay. Okay. So we got these picks. I still think Kyrie deserves to go to the Lakers. I mean, deserve. I think he should. Well, I think they should get him.
I
But
mean, I'm not. I'm not. Nah, I am fully against it. I don't
I
want to
know
tell that
you
lie.
are. I
I'm
know you
fully
are.
against it, man. I don't think he need. I don't think LeBron needs to give him another chance to ride his coattail at all. That's just my take on the situation. But last thing before we get up out of here,
Yeah.
I want to do a hot take prediction before we get up out of here, man.
Okay.
So there was a few teams, just a few,
Mm-hmm.
that found themselves outside of the playoff picture last year, or even the play-in picture last year. So what I want to ask you,
Okay.
give me a team, either conference, that you think that didn't make the playoffs or the play-in last year that'll go ahead and take that step this year.
Hmm. Caught me off guard. I don't. Oh man, who did not make it that I think have a chance? Because I was legit thinking about. I know Sac made the playoffs, but I feel like they can go further than they did this year.
Yeah, but that's not that hot of a take, man. I want hot
I know.
takes.
I
I
know. I
need
know.
some
I know.
receipts to pull up. You know what I'm saying? In a couple months, you did say,
Just
and
off
that's
the
what I'm
top,
looking for, man. Off the cuff,
just
what you got
just
for me?
off the cuff, man. I
You got the
don't.
Trailblazers, OKC, Pelicans, Detroit, Charlotte. You got a lot of options, man.
Is and Lamelo's coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to go with Charlotte. I think if I'm gonna pick any team that didn't make the playoffs, I gotta go with Charlotte. I
Charlotte.
would I want to say Magic, I really do, but I do not think they're gonna make a big jump this year. I want to say
Man,
the Magics, man, but I don't see it happening.
you was pulling at my heartstrings with the Magics, man. I
I,
I wanted to say them too, man. I did a lot of research. I was going up and down and through, and I just couldn't find a way for them either.
I,
Uh,
I want to see them win, though.
I considered Charlotte as well. I like that pick. Again, that was one of my honorable mentions. I
Yeah.
love their draft. Bringing in Brandon Miller, I think it was a good decision. I do think he could prove to be the best player in the whole draft.
Yeah, for
His
sure.
his scoring ability, along with that length, I mean, I like it a lot, and he has the mindset to want to be a two-way player. So
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see what he develops into, but I like it a lot. LaMelo Ball just came off of a great season. I know he got hurt, but I mean, he was averaging 23 points and like nine assists,
Yeah.
shooting very very well from three. So if he can come back doing a lot of the same stuff, maybe elevate his game a bit,
Mhm.
I can definitely see them as a serious playoff contender this coming season. I mean, they're
Okay.
getting rid of the Jordan curse, so
He is.
that in itself might get them in the playoffs.
They could. They could. Hey, you already know who's gonna be a better GM when he retired. LeBron.
Hey man, LeBron gonna be the greatest owner
Ain't,
there ever was when he
hey
retired.
man, ain't too many categories left for LeBron to really excel in right now. He get that GM, bro. He the GOAT. I just know it. I know he knows what to do to bring an organization to the finals. Man.
I
So,
mean, one of the greatest basketball minds there's been. But that'll do it
yeah.
for the first episode. Again, if you guys like, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Comment anything that you would like us to put on the show in the future. Give us some feedback.
Any
Uh,
topics?
that'll be it. It's a wrap. It's your boy Keandre again with my guy
With
Mark,
Mark.
and we'll be signing off.
All right.